In this video, we'll be taking a look at Bootstrap World Lesson 2, but only pages 1 through 2 in this video. If you're looking for part 2, you should be seeking out the second video posted for Lesson 2. So, in our Lesson 2 packet, let's take a look at our first 5 definitions. A value is a specific piece of data, such as a number, for example, 5.1, or a word, such as hello. The words that we use as values must be put in between quotation marks. Okay, definition 2, a function. A mathematical object that takes in some inputs and produces an output. Number 3, a mathematical expression is a computation in arithmetic, often involving our 4 functions, adding and subtracting, which uses those 2 symbols that we're used to seeing, multiplication, where we have to use an asterisk, and division, where we have to use a slash. Please be aware that the computer does not understand the multiplication symbol when we use an X or the division symbol shown here. Keep in mind the symbols that are actually on the keyboard are the ones that we have to use. So for multiplication and division, the asterisk and the slash can actually be found on the keyboard. Okay, definition 4, evaluate. Evaluate means to perform the computation in an expression, producing an answer. So evaluate means get an answer. Number 5, programming language is a set of rules for writing code that a computer can evaluate. The programming language is the language that the computer actually understands. If we don't speak the computer's language, the computer will not understand. Let's take a look at the rest of page 1, where we see a couple more definitions. The first thing you're going to notice is I've crossed out the picture of the definitions window and the interactions window. That's what the computer screen used to look like, but now the definitions window is on the left and the interactions window is on the right. So you're going to want to cross out the picture that's on your paper and redraw what I've drawn here. Definition 6 is the editor. The editor is the software that allows you to write and evaluate code. We are going to be using the editor called WeScheme, which I will show you looks like this. The website is www.wescheme.org. We will get very used to that website. That's where we're going to be going every time we code in this class. So when you start coding in this editor, there's 2 windows. There's the definitions window, which is the text box at the top of the editor where definitions are written. And then there's the interactions window, which is the text box at the right of the editor where we enter expressions to evaluate. A legal expression, definition 7, is code that follows the code rules. Again, the computer will not understand you if you don't follow the rules for writing code. Definition 8 is an error message. Little self-explanatory here. It's information from the computer about any errors or mistakes in the code. So at this point, I want to pull up the editor again, the WeScheme editor, and show you what it's going to look like when we click Start Coding. We see our definitions window on the left side, our interactions window on the right side. For the beginning portion of this unit, we're only going to be typing in the interactions window on the right. Some of the things that we can type at this point are numbers, and when you hit enter, the computer will return the same value that you typed in. I can type in fractions, I can type in negative numbers, I can type in really large numbers, I can also type in words, as long as they are between quotation marks. When I hit enter, what the computer returns to me is the word or phrase that I typed in between quotation marks. So that's how the interactions work thus far. We haven't actually started coding yet. We're just typing things into the interactions window, hitting enter, and the numbers and the words that we're typing in return to themselves. The computer isn't really being asked to do anything at this point. So let's take a look back at page 2 in your lesson 2 packet and talk about circles of evaluation. So up at the top of page 2, it says one way to indicate the order of operations in an expression is to first draw the expression as a diagram. This diagram is called a circle of evaluation. Here you can see an example of a circle of evaluation for the math expression 4 minus 5. Circles of evaluation show the structure that's going on inside an expression. All circles of evaluation have 2 rules, very important rules. Circle rule 1, each circle must have one function which goes at the top of the circle. So you'll notice in our example up here, the subtraction symbol is up at the top of the circle. Circle rule 2, the numbers are written below in order from left to right. So this makes sense to us because when we read left to right. When we write, we also write left to right. So it makes sense that if we're doing 4 minus 5, that's the order that the numbers are written inside our circle of evaluation. Okay, so let's take a look at number 1. Which rule does the circle of evaluation to the right break? So we're being told basically that this circle of evaluation is incorrect. So what's wrong with it? Is it breaking circle rule 1 or 2? Hopefully you figured out that rule 1 is the rule being broken. Okay, the function in this case, in all circles of evaluation, must be at the top. So the correct way to draw this circle of evaluation is a circle. We need a horizontal line to divide the top section from the bottom section. We need this plus sign up at the top. It needs to be there in order to follow the rules for circles of evaluation. So the plus is at the top, and 6 is the first number, 7 is the second number. Make sure that you're leaving a space between the 6 and the 7 so that it doesn't look like 67. Okay, it's 2 separate inputs, 6 and 7. So let's take a look at the table in the lower left-hand corner of this page, where you're asked to try drawing the circle of evaluation for each and then evaluate. So our first expression is 6 times 4. So when I go to draw a circle of evaluation, I'm going to draw a circle, nice and large, don't squish it. I'm going to draw a horizontal line separating the top from the bottom. I need my operation or my function at the top. So in this case it's multiplication, so I'm using an asterisk. And my 2 inputs are 6 and 4. Again, leave a space between the 6 and the 4. That's my circle of evaluation for 6 times 4. When I go to evaluate that, it just means do the math, get an answer. So 6 times 4 is 24. So at this point, I'd like you to pause the video and attempt these last 3 math problems on your own, as far as drawing the circle of evaluation for each, a circle with a horizontal line, filling in what was in the top, what was in the bottom, and then also evaluate. So pause the video now and finish this table. So now that the answers to these 3 math expressions are written down, please check to make sure that your circles of evaluation look like mine, and make sure that what you evaluated them as is also the same. Be aware that in this last one, 351 over -1, it's indicating division. So you'll notice that the function that I used up at the top is our slash. It's our division symbol that the computer actually recognizes. Let's take a look at number 3. It says to use multiple functions in the same expression, we can combine circles of evaluation. To correctly follow order of operations, we must evaluate inner circles first, then move outward. Can you evaluate the following circle of evaluation? So the first thing I want to point out is that this inner circle here, this 4 minus 5 circle of evaluation, must be evaluated first. So I'm actually going to redraw this circle of evaluation. There's still division at the top, and 351 is still the first input. But we can actually evaluate that inner circle. What is 4 minus 5? We've already evaluated that and know that it's -1. So now my circle of evaluation looks like it has in the past, where I'm just doing 351 divided by -1. To evaluate that, we divide those 2 numbers and we get -351. All right, our last example is number 4. Finish writing the circle of evaluation shown here so that it represents 23 plus 7 in parentheses times 13 minus 5 in parentheses. So the first thing you'll notice is that the main operation here is multiplication, and that is shown at the top of our circle of evaluation. But because the two things that are being multiplied are math problems themselves, we see inner circles here and here to represent those two expressions that are actually the ones being multiplied. So in each of those inner circles, we need to do 23 plus 7. So the only thing that's missing there is the other input in the left inner circle. And so here we're doing 23 plus 7 times the main operation, multiplication, is already up at the top. And in our second inner circle, we want to do 13 minus 5. So the operation that goes up at the top is subtraction. Our first input is 13, and our second input is 5. So that is the end of pages 1 and 2 in the Lesson 2 packet. So this is the end of our video.